Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days as it is turning a lot more humid and warm over the coming days as we do start to see southerly winds moving in, bringing in pretty hot air masses for the time of year. With that increased humidity, we could see some instability at times, and there is a risk of some thunderstorms over the next couple of days. We keep seeing chopping and changing, especially from the UKV, so it is highly unpredictable at the moment, but we'll have a look at what it is showing today. As we progress into the longer range through the early part of September, it does look like it's going to remain pretty warm and humid into that first week or two of autumn, and we could see again more thunderstorms mixing in with smaller areas of low pressure mixing up from the south and the southwest. Some runs though do produce more extensive higher pressure, so don't completely cross out the possibility of actually seeing quite a hot dry spell. That is possible, but I would say there is quite a big split at the moment, probably more going towards the more hot, humid and thundery pattern, which to be honest is better than a flat westerly, stormy conditions which can start to arrive during early September. So we'll run through all of that in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, as we start on the live radar, recording this around 11 PM on Friday evening, so it's a bit late, but you can see it's been bone dry, and for most today, through Friday, it's been bone dry as well. Saturday looks like it's going to be pretty bone dry again, but there could be, as I said, a few odd thunderstorms in the south and the east, and we are going to start to see that humidity rising. It's not been cool through Friday, it's been warm, but it is going to start to feel a bit more oppressive through the weekend as that wind direction does shift. You can see there are a few thunderstorms across parts of France at the moment, Belgium as well, and again that instability could be heading our way through parts of Saturday. Now, temperatures are set around 11 PM are not particularly warm, they are fresh. Of course, we are heading into early September. We are seeing longer nights, weakening sunshine, so it does mean generally temperatures are going to drop and we're going to see a lot more blues. So yes, we'll be very warm and humid during the days, but those temperatures will always fall away through the evenings. Maybe in the far southeast it might feel still humid through the evenings. Again, the air mass pushing in does look pretty warm indeed. I'd call it hot during midsummer. It's just the surface probably wouldn't replicate the sort of 30 plus degree temperatures that we could see during peak summer. Now, if you go over to the UKV and have a look at the next 5 days in some more detail, you can see as we head into Saturday, it does look like a pretty bone dry day, but there is the risk of a few thunderstorms in the south and the east, especially for the afternoon to the early evening, and just generally increased cloud. Overnight into Sunday, there is the risk of a more widespread outbreak of thunderstorms, but we keep seeing chopping and changing between these runs. Yesterday, if you saw yesterday's video, we did have quite an extensive outbreak of thunderstorms across parts of central, eastern and southern England. Here is a little bit more isolated, fragmented, with the majority of really beefy storms staying out either in the Channel or the North Sea. Again, could change. We'll update this tomorrow, but again, could be pretty lively Saturday into Sunday for some. And then as we head into Sunday, those thunderstorms do clear away. And for Sunday, with that humid air in, it's a little bit more cloudy, but still generally pretty dry. Could see a weather front pushing in from the west as we head into Monday. And again, it's this small little low pressure system trying to nudge up from the southwest. And again, could have some extensive rain, some thunderstorms with it into Monday. So Monday's still going to be warm, still going to be humid, but there could be quite a few hefty showers around. As we head into Tuesday, that low is still close by. We do lose that more organised rain, but still keep a lot of those hefty showers. And then as we slowly transition into Wednesday, it does start to turn a little bit drier once again, as we do see things looking a little bit better with some more higher pressure starting to nudge in. If you look at the upper air temperatures, you can see it's not particularly cool at the moment, relatively warm if we're being completely honest, but into Saturday and Sunday it will really ramp up temperatures into the double digits through Saturday evening into Sunday, maybe even mid to high teens by Sunday afternoon, so very warm indeed. The only caveat is there's going to be some thunderstorms around, some clouds that will hold those temperatures down, and the air mass is just about moving in, so again, it doesn't equate to anything insane at the surface. And of course, it's September, so the sun strength isn't there. Those sort of temperatures at the surface will not get as hot as if this were in July. So there's a good 3, 4, maybe even 5 degree temperature difference now between early July and early September because of the length of the days and the sun strength. That's kind of the, I said, 3, 4, 5 degrees difference between those top temperatures with the same sort of air mass. Now, as I said, normally in midsummer we use that sort of 15 degree kind of rule of thumb. We add 15 degrees to the 850 HPA temperature, and that gives us our rough top temperature. So we would be looking probably here at low 30s, but as we'll see in a minute, it's more likely mid 20s, maybe high 20s, and that, as I said, is because of the decreasing sun strength and because of the shortening of the days. As we progress into Monday, still warm, but eventually we see that weather front moving in with that little low pressure system, but it still stays relatively warm and muggy all the way to Wednesday, just not quite as warm as the weekend. Now, do have a look at the surface temperatures. You can see as we head into Saturday, it isn't going to be too bad. It's going to be pretty nice indeed. Widely high teens to low 20s. You will notice that it's not just 20s in the south. It's all the way up towards Scotland seeing 20 degrees. So it's up and down the British Isles. Again, just showing you that it is a pretty warm and muggy air mass moving in when all areas are getting towards that 20 plus degree range. As we head into Sunday, likely to be even warmer. Temperatures 24, 25. Wouldn't even rule out 26 or 27. Given the upper air temperatures, I do think there is scope for higher temperatures, but it will depend on the shower and cloud amounts. There was pretty extensive cloud here on this UKV. That cloud isn't as widespread as forecasted, then we could see those temperatures nudge up by another couple of degrees. We are seeing 30 degrees across northern France. As we press into Monday, it will be inevitably a little bit cooler, but still could see low to mid 20s in some areas across southern and eastern England. And Tuesday again is warm in the east, 23, 24, and again into Wednesday, 23, 24. So again, we're not seeing anything exceptional. It's not 30 plus degrees. It's mid 20s, low 20s for most. And yeah, it's pretty decent. And we have to remember, we are heading into September. We cannot have the same expectations as we had a month or two ago, where kind of low 20s was a given because it is midsummer. As we head progressively through September, we do see that slow transition. And by October, we're starting to talk about the risk of maybe a few frosts developing in the north, cool conditions, actually colder days. We can need coat out, have multiple layers. So we are on that slow transition, but you can see, at least for the first week of September, it looks like we're going to drag out summer for a little bit longer. Now, if you do have a look at the latest GFS, you can see high pressure is in control at the moment, and it is going to nudge up southerly winds over the next couple of days. We do kind of see this little gap between the two high pressure systems, one towards Scandinavia and the North Sea, one towards the Azores and the North Atlantic, and that gap, that's where we see this little low pressure system develop as we head into Monday, and that's going to give that instability and that rain and thunderstorms through Sunday, Monday, maybe into Tuesday. But eventually, high pressure extends back in, and it actually looks pretty stunning for the second half of next week. Again, we have to decipher exactly what the air masses will be, but here, it actually looks very warm and very dry. We've got a long period of time before eventually low pressure does make a return right towards the end of this run. But for a good period here, upper temperatures well into the double digits, and we are under higher pressure. So if you do zoom in to the surface and have a look at those surface temperatures, wouldn't be surprised to be seeing again low to mid 20s possibly as we head into the first week or two of September. Again, we can't have those expectations of 30 plus degrees. It's just not it's just not realistic unless we saw like a proper heat wave pattern, proper southerly plume. It's just not realistic, unfortunately. We did see it last year, but that was a very strong, very hot air mass. But generally, for just a high pressure system with slack southerly or southeasterly winds. It's just not plausible to see temperatures much higher than this. This is kind of the best we can get without an exceptional pattern like we saw last September. But you can see here pretty consistently temperatures into the low to maybe mid-20s, looking pretty decent indeed. Continuing summer throughout the first full week of September. Now, to compare to the GM, again, high pressure in control at the moment, do you see that squeeze with that small area of low pressure starting to push in from the west? Eventually, high pressure extends back in and it looks great for a good period of time. And then low pressure could nudge back in for day 10. Again, it's so far away that, again, I don't want to put too much emphasis on it. Emphasis really on this sort of day 5 to day 7 period where we see this big area of high pressure slap bang over the top of us with very warm air pushing up. Again, if we look at the upper air temperatures, we are looking at a good 8 to 10 degrees above average. Really nice indeed. And if we do zoom in again to those surface temperatures, again, if we go try and get to the afternoon, again, we're looking at mid to maybe even high 20s here. And I think that's because that upper air temperatures are a couple of degrees higher than the GFS. So looking really good indeed from both of these runs. If we finish by looking at the latest ECMWF, again, high pressure building in, we see that squeeze early next week with that low pressure. A little bit more organised, this low here from the ECMWF, and lasting a bit longer, unfortunately. High pressure eventually does build in, but that low never fully goes away. So although, yes, we do see that high extending in, we do see some very warm, even hot air pushing in. The 20-degree isotherm isn't too far away. What we do see, though, is still some precipitation, still potentially some thunderstorms. And you can see that if we put in the precipitation here, still some thunderstorms trying to push up from the south, unfortunately. So it could keep it a little bit more unsettled into next week and the following weekend. But again, I'd say it is on the lower end here. We are going to see some thunderstorms around, but definitely looks like there's a good chance that higher pressure does build in for a good few days later next week. Now, if you finish by looking at the ensembles, you can see this in pretty good detail. Upper air temperatures skyrocketing over the next couple of days to about 10 degrees above average. Very warm indeed. We do see that spike in precipitation as well through Sunday, Monday, as expected, as we saw in the UKV. Thunderstorms are looking likely and generally some rain, especially in the west. And then into the subsequent days, we do see a bit of a split in the ensembles. Majority are above average. Quite a few, maybe a third or a quarter, go significantly above average, back towards that sort of 15-degree range. And if that does sustain itself, like a lot of these runs show for 3, 4, 5 days, again, mid to high 20s isn't out of the question. Other runs, though, do go cooler, so there is a bit of a split there, but the majority are warm. You can see precipitation. There are still some spikes, but it does reduce quite substantially. So again, that does follow on from our thoughts of a higher pressure and warm, hot air. So it is looking pretty good here from the GFS. Not concrete, not definitive, but definitely looking pretty decent. And if we do compare to the ECMWF, again, broadly very similar. Big spike in upper air temperatures over the next couple of days. Precipitation pretty high. Temperatures drop for a time, and then they climb up later next week. But the only difference is there is quite a bit more precipitation. So those are like GFS are much more on board with that high pressure sitting over the top of us, whereas the ECMWF has the high pressure still there, still drawing up that southerly or southeasterly wind, but maybe slightly further northwards or eastwards, allowing that low to sit closer by. So the big discrepancy here isn't really with those upper air temperatures, the humidity, the heat, it's more with the precipitation. Will we see more extensive thunderstorms, or will we see more sunshine and dry conditions? We'll have to wait and see. Again, it's still sort of 7 days away, sort of 5 to 7 days away before those thunderstorm risk does increase again after we see a bit of a lull on Wednesday. So we'll have to, as I said, wait and see. But definitely interesting, definitely carry on a summery theme, definitely not autumnal conditions this. Yes, it could be unsettled, it could be thundery, but that's something we associate with the summer, not with the autumn. We do generally start to see Atlantic low pressure systems moving in. We're not seeing any of that for the time being. Jet stream looks fairly inactive in terms of being sort of flat westerly and strong. It does look like for the time being we're going to have quite a wavy jet stream, not particularly strong, allowing these pockets of high pressure and heat to continue to sort of float about. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.